So let's begin. In a seated position. You can choose eyes open or eyes closed. We just start to turn or shift what we allow ourselves to feel and sense. I would let that breath come up more prominently. Feel the tailbone sinking downward. And feel the weight of the arms. The shoulder simply releases the weight of the arms a bit more. Feel that the neck is supporting the head, neither pulling it or steering it, but the neck is adequate support for the head and all that brain circulation. And now let's start to deepen our breath. So the ribs move more broadly out toward the horizon, back toward the horizon, from the horizon rather. So this gentle expansion in all directions. Interestingly, to expand in all these directions requires us being situated ever more deeply in our body and in and through our core. So let's take these next 3 breaths, washing breath through core. And so may these breaths and this practice serve our highest good. And if you want to take 3 more breaths to simply refine that for whatever that means for you. What is a highest good or a highest outcome for you today? For you 1 hour from now? We're all starting to breathe together. That's amazing. And we'll start right out with the arms. You'll have to adjust the angle. I'll be saying straight out to the left and the right, but you may have to go a little bit lower. So inhaling, reach the arms out to the side, turning the palms up. Okay, and there may be some joint restrictions, so it's really important to not go into pain realms. Exhale, turn the thumb down, the bicep down. And as we get this motion going back and forth, we can add in the chin down. Inhale, we'll go palm up, and we'll just lift the eyes, the head to the horizon. And then exhaling, thumbs down, biceps down, chin down if you love it. So inhaling is the up move. So letting the palm up correspond with kind of that front of shoulder and chest bias, front of heart. And then exhaling is the back of body bias, the down move or the in move. The ribs are moving back together, biasing the back of the heart. Let's do 3 more turns or breath movements like so. So again, really important that we don't go into pain, that we just kind of elide around it, because pain corrodes our engram. Pain corrodes how we know skills to go. We'll be working alternate nostril breathing. I'm just going to select the right hand for now, for today. And we'll start off with no hold, and then we'll add hold. So, right thumb, right nostril. And when we're bringing the hand to the face, we'll keep the nose, the chin over the sternum. So ensure that we're bringing the hand to the face instead of the head to the hand. Inhale through the left nostril. Just going a very easy, like 6 count roughly. And then we'll switch, exhale out the right nostril 12. And then we'll inhale through the right, roughly 6. It's a very malleable framework. And then exhale out the left 12. And of course, you may want to nudge these numbers around for greater comfort. It's really important we don't strain in pranayama. It seems that we find greater ease in our body and our movement when we discover ways to release tension. When we find little excesses of work, and we can sometimes shave out some of the efforts. And feeling that each breath contacts core. The more we situate and take our stand or our seat from this depth of interior, interestingly, the more we seem to go in, the more easily we can expand out. Okay. So now we'll start to insert a hold. The hold shall go between the inhale and the exhale. So it's an inhale, a hold, and an exhale. Start with a really small hold, like 3 count. The next round we can always extend it to 4. Feel the back of the head align over the back of the pelvis. And as we continue just a bit more, in that hold moment, whether it's 3 count or 6 count or 12 count, rather than just capturing the breath for a period of time, feel for absorbing the breath into your core. So it's just a little exercise for our mind's eye. As we can hold our mind's eye captured, static. We can work with this tool of this movement of absorption to bring us more fully and completely into the core of our being. We'll do just another round or so. So how I experience my interiors, roving through them, contacting them, penetrating. This is all exercising how we take our perspective, where it's just one more asana. Every perspective needs a body. I'm sure we'll find that when we're engaged in I, me, my, we feel a certain way in our body, physically, energetically, psychologically. And when we're engaged with you, it, that, we feel another way in our visual field, in our body, in our engagement. Cool. After that round, we'll release. Do a seated spinal twist. Let's switch up the leg situation a bit. I'm actually going to do it this way with the right leg on the ground and the sole of the left foot on the ground. So this is my left knee pointing toward the sky. And you can go foot by shin or foot by thigh. Just depends on your hips, your knees. But if you can go by thigh, let's go by thigh. So most people's shin, their left shin will be angled. Press the heel, the outer edge, and the big toe ball mount down. So the foot is firmly situated even though the shin is angled. Inhale the left hand down, the right arm up. And then exhaling, we're twisting to our left. So you can hook that elbow around your thigh. So that might be much nicer to do for the bicep. Or you can hook that elbow over the thigh to engage more that backside of shoulder. As we remain here, find myself, all right. Using that right elbow, that pressure of right elbow, inhaling, press down, feel the guts softening in this vertical way. So there's more ease through the intestines, under the diaphragm. And then as you're exhaling, feel for softening. It's a little different than pressing the arm into the leg. Feel for softening. Where does this softening occur? For our purposes today, we're going to keep returning back to core. So we're taking a depth move and an interior move or direction. So to keep situating inwardly, depthwardly. Now, shoulder permits. If that elbow's hooked over the thigh, and take it just one tiny step further, the right hand will reach down, grabbing the clothing by the left hip. Okay. You could go for the interlock if it's just right, easy for you. But this right elbow, now pointing down, inhale, grow the chest bones, the ribs toward the sky. Sometimes we get a little clustered on this right side in this place. Exhale, send that right elbow downward. The shoulder moves away from neck. Good. Once more, press those feet into the earth. Inhaling into the gut, solar plexus. And release. Inhale, unwind. And it's just one of these little artifacts, I think. Whereas we're unwinding from a pose, sometimes we depart from our core. So as we're changing sides, we can still have that felt connection to a depth of self. It doesn't require the pose. The pose is just a little helper. So our left leg is on the ground, and this is the right knee bent, pointing towards sky. Inhale the right hand to the ground. The left arm, reach, lift. The left lung lifts away from the left hip. Exhale, hook that left elbow over the right thigh. And we're in the twist. I know there's plenty of you that professionally engage with the world, either in a visual way, a manual way, right? And one of the beautiful things we can do with this depth and this core practice is as we're establishing and finding this enduring capacity to remain in and with our core, is to then do that form of engagement without losing that feeling of core. So then we interact with our eyes, our hands, without losing the sense of core, so it becomes a part of our experience. Left hand reaching down, grab the right kind of hip area clothing. You don't have to go full interlock unless it's pleasurable for you. And then with this kind of connection of like a fulcrum, make this left elbow, and exhaling, just send it away from the earlobe. So that left side shoulders opens up a bit. The AC joint frees up, that left side neck frees up. And here's our pop quiz as we're opening up the hand. Inhale, still feeling a sense of core, inward or depth. As we unwind from the pose, we'll unwind the legs and we'll lie on back. As we're lying back, have a prop, whether it's a roll or a block. And then with the feet off the ground, there's another really nice place for that kind of practice. Feeling the core while extending our feeling, our sensing, toward the periphery. Not losing that anchor in our core. Inhale, floating the head and the upper back up, and getting a sense of breath in the pelvic, abdominal, depth of our body. And just a little abdominal pressure, tiny, teeny shift of the tailbone. Exhale, left leg out, reach. And so here is the practice. I'm still sensing being in my abdomen, pelvis, as I can still feel all the way to the sole of the foot, sink the belly in and down. Inhale, bend the left knee. We'll keep the upper back afloat. Little shift in the tailbone. Exhale, send the right leg out. Can you sense the foot without losing the feeling in the gut? Sink the belly in. Belly plus foot. Inhale, bend the right knee. And maybe for some of us, we're still just playing with, well, I think I need to feel my gut. Perfect. Roll tailbone. Exhale, send the sole of the left foot away from the lower abdomen. So sensing lower abdomen plus sole of foot. Sink the belly in and down. Inhale, bend left knee. I'll just talk through this last one more. We'll curl tailbone. Exhale, sole of right foot moves away from lower abdomen. Maybe you feel one more prominently than the other. Sink the belly in and down. Inhale, when you bend that right knee, let's say we'll do 3 more each side, and we'll do this at our own pace yet together. So it's both and. Kind of the interesting thing is, As we, the practitioner, feel these connections more and more robustly in our body, with our body, other practitioners, maybe those who work with us, can feel those through lines a little more easily in those that feel it themselves. So it's like sensing my body helps other practitioners sense that also. So it's like an opening in one is an opening for many. Just when you're through with that, you'll grab your roll or block, whatever prop fits well between your thighs. Not too wide, not too narrow. And if you don't have one, it's fine. Oh, wow. Coming equipped. All right, so we've got the roll between legs, legs vertical. And we'll go hands behind the brainstem. Inhale down to the sacrum, in front of the sacrum, interior to the sacrum. So we're situating in that pelvic space, low abdomen, right? Squeeze the object. And as you're squeezing, already sending the soles of feet toward the sky, exhale, float the head and the shoulder blades up just a tiny bit. It's not so much about rounding the spine, just elongating, biasing the backside, and sink the belly in. Good. Inhale, setting the head down. The pressures come off the roll. At the very top of inhale, hold just a moment, reapply the pressure, and just very tiny internal rotation. So I'm turning my left foot toward 1 o'clock, my right foot toward 11 o'clock. Exhale, float the head and the shoulder blades up. So as I'm squeezing, I'm rolling the thighs inwardly just a smidge, reaching up through the feet, the heels, the midfoot. Sink the belly down. And then inhaling, setting the head down, releasing the roll and any rotation of the hip, the leg. Squeeze the object, exhale, curling the tailbone, float the head, the shoulder blades off the ground. And we're keeping the sacrum touching the ground, yeah? Draw the belly in and down. Inhaling, setting the head down. Releasing the pressure a bit. At the top of the inhale, hold that breath, squeeze the object, and just a tiny internal rotation. So my right foot points toward 11 o'clock, my left foot points to 1 o'clock on the ceiling, on the sky. Exhale, float the head, the shoulder blades up. And as you're rolling, pressing into that roll, keep stretching the inner thigh from the hips, from the hip crease. Sink the belly in. And you can probe, you can investigate, where is in? Inhale, let the head go down, let the pressures come off that roll. And the feet return to parallel. We'll do another. Squeeze the object, curling tailbone, exhale, float the head, the shoulder blades up off the ground. And this final one, when you get to that moment, empty of breath, drawing and sinking the belly in, linger there to feel just another layer into the guts, into the abdomen space, into that pelvic abdominal place. Linger, sink, inward, inward, and then releasing. Inhale, let the legs go, let the head go down. Exhaling, we'll set the feet down. And we'll put that roll off to the side. So do one more. We're doing straddle lifting through. So we'll stay lying on spine. Set the legs up like you had them and set them widely. I'm keeping the knees basically aligned with the hips. So even if I have to bend the knees stay in the same, we'll say, plane as the hips. Interlaced hands, holding that back of brain. Inhale, float the head, the shoulder blades off the ground. Exhaling, curling the tailbone. That's a breath move. And now outreaching through the legs, opening up through the soles of the feet, just spreading the foot bones, and now sink the low belly in and down, right between the hip bones. Inhale, we'll keep the upper back afloat. Exhale. Exhaling moves the tailbone. Outreaching through the legs, opening. Sink the belly in, deepening, 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 sensing. So again, it's a direction that we can take in the pelvis too. Let's keep going. Inhale, keep the head, the shoulder blades afloat, sending or sensing your breath in the pelvis. Exhaling, we'll start to shift the tailbone. We don't have to do it with our brain necessarily. Reach out through the legs. And as you're reaching out, sink. It's a sensory sinking in. So I choose to feel inwardly, depthwardly into the pelvis. That's core too. Continue. Let's do 5 more. We'll do those at our own pace. Get together. There it is. And some of this rotation of the thigh, it's just something we figure out together. You figure out, all of our hip sockets are a little different. We might have God's hip sockets. We might have doctor's hip sockets. We might have Scottish hip sockets. But when you are through, set the head down manually. Help the legs both together and down. Great. Let's turn over onto our elbows and knees. As if the sacrum's going to get all of that, the brain should get some of all that too. So we'll set up elbows under shoulders. And I usually say forearms out in parallel. However, if there's a shoulder thing going on, you might find that palm facing palm works out a little better in the bicep area. At least it does for me. And with the toes curled under, inhale, letting breath expand throughout the rib cage toward the horizon. Releasing the weight of the head down. Exhale, float those knees away from ground. And press. Keep pressing. Keep pressing through those forearms to feel lightness in the shoulder joints. Now, if we've gotten to have the discussion about the back of the solar plexus, those low ribs together, then you know what to do, or how to feel and sense into that middle of back area. There it is. There it is. All of a sudden there's all these breathings in the middle of the back. This is wonderful. Diaphragm's delight. Yeah, there's those backs of lungs. Cool. Right? And we remember that all of these pulmonary, the tubes, all the to and fro tubes, they're situated nearer to the spine than the front of our body. So as we're breathing into the back side, you can get a sense of just offering space and freedom to these conduits. All right. So let's set the knees down. And our part 2 today is turbo dog. Turbo dog might be a little rough in the bicep area, so if dolphin works better, maybe dolphin is a better second round for bicep shoulder stuff. Bicep shoulder, if you don't have any bicep or shoulder stuff, let's set up turbo dog. So I'm setting my hands forward of shoulder, just several inches forward from under shoulder. Bend elbow, but it's more of a rotation. Almost like my elbows are clamping a big beach ball. My forearms are parallel with each other, pushing the earth. The serratus, the chest muscles light up. And exhaling, pressing the knees off the ground. The elbows don't move. The elbows are still hovering 1, 2, or 3 inches from the ground. And so if I get that adequate recruitment of the serratus, the armpit and the chest wall, it'll support my ribs from the underneath side, the chest side. So in a sense, the musculature is active around the sides and the front of my body, and it's kind of spreading and opening in the back of my body. It's just a little muscle play, but as we play with the muscle, we can get into and play with the vasculature and the nerve endings. So always fun. It's tempting to straighten the elbows to kind of get out of the feeling of being so in the arms, shoulders. And then set knees down. And if you need to reset hands for downward dog, reset hands, and on exhale, your exhale, which may not be when I say exhale, we'll press back into downward dog. So now we certainly can straighten the arms. And in fact, if you're straightening the elbows, engage those triceps so you can do it with some muscle. Inhale, step the right foot forward, warrior two. We're taking the arms directly into, just relaxed. We'll go down. We'll go into the shoulders, through the back. So arms relaxed, shoulder shrugs, inhale. Sensing the back of the heart and the ribs. Do they move? Hold that breath, raise the shoulders, and as we kind of draw the shoulders together, feel that it's just the shoulders moving together, not all the ribs in the spine. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades, and pulling them down each side of the spine, almost like we're kind of scrubbing the sides of the spine. Inhale, release, squeeze. And then now the middle parts of the blades, gather. I'm drawing the blades toward each other. I'm not moving the rib cage out of the way. The blades can go around the ribs. Exhale, squeeze, drag. Feel both sides of the spine. Sinking into the feet. Inhale, release the squeeze. Now the bottom tips of the blade, so this is that same area for many of us, that back of the diaphragm. We tend to kind of pinch or crimp here, so we're going to engage it. Exhale, squeeze. And we can do this without crimping the vertebrae. Drawing the muscles and the shoulder blade tips together, down. Inhaling, we'll do it all over again. The tops. Okay. And then it's just a little fine point, but when I squeeze the tops of my shoulder blades, I need not thrust my chest forward. So I don't have to squeeze and condense my spine. It's just the blades, the muscles around the spine. Feel for that distinction. The middle parts of the blades. I can squeeze the middle parts of the blades without thrusting my spine forward or my chest forward. And then inhaling, releasing. And the bottom tips. This is that diaphragm area. This is the middle back area. This is the kind of kidney latitude. I can squeeze the tips of the blades without thrusting my spine forward or my ribs forward. Inhale, reaching arms out to the side. interlock warrior. Exhaling. So I'm sending that right elbow toward the earth. Reaching that right arm under the thigh. Sending that left elbow into the sky. Left hand behind back. Release. Inhale, we set that right hand down. And let's heel toe the left foot nearer to the right, just so we have an easy launch into half moon. So I'm getting a block. And then we're raising the left foot hip height. And that torso can still explore that rotation, that spiralic motion as it's lengthening forward. And have a feeling as someone's left leg reach, the spiraling of the torso, to the left leg may get you right into some guts. I don't know if we got some windy guts going on today. There you go. And good. Breathing right into this large intestine area. Good. Connect. Yeah, there you go. Connect that leg to the intestine. There you go. There you go. Inhale, we'll set that left foot down to the ground. Warrior one. And with warrior one, adjust the left foot. I'm less concerned about heel being all the way down on the ground and more concerned that we're doing right by the hips and the low back bones. And once we're kind of situated from pelvis, we can always grow and lengthen and stretch through that left leg. And we can do that without twisting the low back. And for those of you who take a really wide warrior one stance, you may find that you actually get into those deeper internal rotation, inner leg engagement, and you get into those tissues on the outer thigh with a narrower stance or a more traditional stancer. We can always work that idea out in person a bit. Twisting warrior. On exhale, we'll bring this left elbow over the right thigh. Left elbow over right thigh. The left hand make a fist. The left leg still reaching back away from the diaphragm, the lung. And within the next exhale or two, we're going to slide this left armpit down to either prepare for or go into interlock warrior. So again, not all the shoulders want to go there. But if you're in a warm spot, you got a nice bit of heat or made mostly of collagen, you can go there. Right? Know your materials. These materials change in heat and stress and inflammation and cold, so part of this is know your materials. There you go. Good, release. Now when we inhale and unwind, step the left foot forward, take a mat width stance. We're going to do a round of neck traction here. So a couple ways. I'll often interlace the hands behind the head so the pinky butts up against the under skull or the occiput. Arm bones clamp around the cheekbone or the jawline. And then it's a simple hang, letting the weight of arms transfer through the skull. Okay. And the other way is you can actually get into the scalp muscles if you grab a nice broad amount of long hair. And I'm really interested to learn more about the scalp muscles and how you're having success with that in terms of people who get migraine headaches or are coming out of like some brain inflammatory state, like maybe having a virus, an infection. I was just getting into those muscles as all of that lymph is draining and pressing on the brain. It can be maybe really nice. All right, so letting head remain hanging. Take the arm weight or the scalp muscle hands off the head. And we'll step the feet back. So we can just keep our head relaxed as we step the feet back and as we lower, drawing the shoulders away from the neck. And even in our cobra, inhaling into cobra, we don't really have to lift the head. We can just feel the chest, the abdomen, the diaphragm lengthening, opening. You don't necessarily have to lift the eyes and the head. Exhale, lower, downward dog, hands under chest. And it is a kind of fun move to just letting the head remain relaxed all the way through downward dog. Now, if you can feel the head and the neck releasing, hanging down, I dare you to deepen breath without lifting the head. Inhale, left foot forward. We're in warrior two. So we're going to release the arms down. Feet active. So I'm interfacing with the ground. I can press quite a bit. Inhale, upper back. We'll raise the shoulders And here's our practice, squeezing the blades and the muscles on the top of the ribs. Exhale, squeezing, dragging down without having to thrust the spine or the chest forward. Okay, releasing, inhale. Letting that breath move those spine bones, rib bones. Now squeeze the middle parts of the blades. So in the lower or the higher T numbers, thoracic spine numbers. Exhale, squeeze, drag. Release. Inhaling. And the bottom tips. Those of you who are still feeling the ribs thrust, like how do we keep the ribs from thrusting, get pushing them forward? The answer might live in the feet. Let's go through a second round. So you'll do the tops of the blades, the middle of the blades, the bottom tips of the blades. And you may just have to feel how you're pressing feet. To me, it's a foot-hip thing that helps my ribs not swim all over space. So the inner part of the foot, the big toe ball mount part of the foot, the inner part of the heel may have some of that, may give you some of the support to unflare the front of the ribs. And play around again, our feet, our hips, our inhale the arms out to the side. Here we go, interlock. And I reach this left elbow inside thigh and sending the elbow in so the shoulder blade toward the ground. The right elbow I'm sending into the sky as well, the shoulder blade. Hands behind back and hip. And so here also, in this interlock warrior, unflaring the ribs. How to unflare the ribs when we're already in the pose. Just feel breathing occurring in the back of the body. So just feeling breath with the lowest lobes, the lowest lung lobes, the middle of the spine, back of the diaphragm. In this case, the left lung. There you go. And the torso spiraling. We need the feet planted in the ground to feel this torso spiraling. And when we release the hands, heel toe the right foot forward a smidge. We're moving into half moon. So inhale the left hand down, the right foot up. And one of the senses I'm getting is there's probably a good habit going on, like using that abdominal, I can't quite know if it's a muscle or an organ thing on this right side, to kind of hold the balance. There's a grab that's letting us balance. Open up through that right diaphragm side. Let that right leg reach. And the right lung lengthen away from the right leg. Good. And feel breath in that right underlung, that right diaphragm, that right colon area. There you go. Woo! Yes, and if it like wobbles you a bit, congratulations. New connections are sometimes wobbly. All right, warrior one, inhale, set the right foot down. And we are pivoting, turning the hips. So letting the hips just have a priority, a positional priority here. So the low back isn't doing this torsion thing. Because we have some moments, you can still feel that right leg moving away from these right intestines, diaphragm. As we start to feel that expansion or that shift, or maybe we just experience this, that's odd, that's new, that's novel. Let it disrupt, let it poke some of our patterns. There's a lot of ways that we kind of go in to the organs, to the digestive organs, as a form of control. We can experience control in other ways than grabbing in the organs. We can, I promise. Twisting warrior. So now on exhale, we'll hook that right arm over the left thigh, right elbow over the left thigh. All right. And then, oh my. Okay, and the next breath or two, if you're moving toward interlock, feel free. Again, know your materials. Are you warm? Is this the good enough place to be? No pain. Pain changes our priorities. It changes, corrodes our engram. Pain alters our structure. There we go. Sweet. And when we release, inhaling, unwind, and do one final neck release move, we'll step the right foot forward. And I've just realized we're going a little over, so if you're on a very tight time thing, just take a look. And I'm going to go handfuls of hair or fingers under occiput, neck traction. And this is a very steady move, a steady weight transfer, a steady hanging with gravity. I'm breathing into those neck bones. All right, we're going to release the weight of the hands and the arms from the head. Now here's our super up-level move for the day. Leaving the head and the neck relaxed, bend knees, and we'll have a seat. And still leaving the head and the neck really kind of just flowy. We're going to lie down for Shavasana. We're just going to make that move toward depth, inward. It's not a narrowing, it's not a tight focus. It's almost like a redistribution. And as we feel inwardly, depthwardly, we do and we will have that effortless capacity to expand. So our sense awareness does broaden and can encompass our entire body. But it's a function of going depthward, inward. Almost like I'm magnetically drawn to this fine filament, to the center of our being. And letting breath move over that fine, fine filament. Just luminescing it. And this we don't have to lose contact with. Even as we bend knees, and we need not lose contact with this depth of ourselves as we start to navigate toward upright or engaging with our environment. In this way, the depth of us is in and a part of all of our experience. Namaste.